Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own, nothing control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is the vault, episode 327. Fear of going private. Appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in a replay. This is a pop-up episode, so we always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, hits the likes button, subscribes to the channel. We always appreciate that. This is the vault, episode 327, fear of going private. So we appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay for years now, and even new people. Today's episode 327 is fear of going private. We just had some questions come up, whether it's through consultations or trustee training or not. Is the biggest thing is fear of going private. So many people, they look at it and it sounds exciting. Oh, we're gonna go private, and it sounds exciting to go private, and then once they get over in the private, or they start getting introduced to the private, there might be some fear of going private. So, whether you're at the stage of contacting the vault and getting over that fear, or behind and you're at the point where you haven't reached out yet to the vault for a consultation. If you want a consultation, it's Christian@trustchristian.com. Always appreciate everybody that reaches out. Everybody that's reached out in the past, you always hear that thanks. And that level of gratitude, appreciate it. So we got fear of going private. So even people on the public side, they may have fear of going private on the public side because why not? It's something new. We had to explain to someone the other day that when you're looking to go private, you gotta understand it's gonna be uncomfortable. First of all, it's something new. So how is it gonna be something that you're gonna be comfortable with if you're going private? We get so many people that are like, hey, I want to make sure that I'm in a position of privacy and yada yada yada. Well, how do you have fear of going private when you gotta be aware that it is something new? It's not something to be feared, it's something to be educated on. So many people come and, that's what Trust Christian Involved ends up doing in people's family estates, putting out fires. We're having to put out fires in people's family estate because they know that they may or may not be in the correct position. And so, okay, they may or may not be in the correct position, but once you know that there's a better way, there's an education that comes with it. It's just an education, ladies and gentlemen. We say we make these episodes for the trustees. Okay, well, they are for the trustees, and they're for the alike. Because whether people are in trusteeship or not, people can still have fear in trusteeship. Because you gotta train your mind as a trustee. It's not ownership, it's control, it's giving up ownership. But going private, it sounded like an elusive thing to so many people when we talk about fear of going private. Partially because it's contracts. It's something that most people aren't used to, which are contracts. That's what they're not used to that. So the private is contracts because trust is contracts. So we're talking about the private contracts, and many people are not educated on contracts. So most of the time, we tell the trustees to get educated with their vocabulary, increase their vocabulary, legalese at least, so they can be aware of how to communicate and have a eye and ear for what is it that they're looking into. We're looking for certain words. Fear of going private is just not being comfortable with the vocabulary alone. We get so many people that, of course, they're going to feel uncomfortable with everything that we're talking about here, partially because so many people are not adept in what we call knowledge. I mean, excuse us, law or legalese. This isn't legal advice through the vault. We're having a conversation with, peers, trustees, the like, to have a conversation that people talk about things in the Chamber of Commerce. We sit in rooms, high net worth investor rooms. They're still public. There are people that have licenses in the room, and otherwise, and uh, you know, they talk about the subject matters that we're talking about, even the fear of going private. We could have this conversation in there because so many of them are in the incorrect position and so many are in the correct position. But when managing wealth is managed in an incorrect position, it's fleeting. That's why it doesn't go from generation to generation because it's not in the correct position. So going private is taking your name off the forged list, not leaving it on the forged list. Yes, we're aware of the Waltons that left their name on there for years and years and years, but they were divided up amongst four or five of them. Fine. Everybody's not Walmart. For many of the families that are looking to make the transition and say, "Oh, I'm going private." Well, if you're going private, it's about own not to trust Christian, own not to control everything. It's about the family saying, look, we're going to make sure that our family is in a position to make sure that we stay in control of assets. See, it's a very simple thought process, but the fear comes where people say, this is what people say, I don't got nothing. How are you going private and you're fearing going private and you don't have anything? So many people say, oh, well, I don't have anything. I don't have anything. People come to the vault all the time. Oh, I don't have anything. But you say you're going private. So you're going private, but you say you don't have anything. You do have assets. Ladies and gentlemen, you're the greatest asset in the first place if you don't have any hard, tangible assets. Insurance is out there for people to go talk to an agent. We don't recommend to talk to every agent, but when we talk about going private, we introduce people to those people in the private. But when we talk about that, the greatest asset in the beginning, it has to be you. Because, of course, the entities don't have any equity. But oh, no, people are neglecting their greatest asset, themselves. When it comes to this, what are you supposed to be doing? Protecting the greatest asset. So how is not having insurance on the greatest asset the most important thing to be done in the beginning? But oh, no, trust Christian, I gotta figure it all out. No, you don't. The fear of going private is people think they need to figure it out before they go private. They need to figure it out. They need to figure it out. What do you need to figure out? I gotta learn everything. Going private says I'm learning while I'm doing. But we say there are people that have done their due diligence, their investigation, and then they invest. See, when you have risk, it just has to be calculated. Then there's no fear of going private because it's a calculated risk. It's not just a risk, it's a calculated risk. It won't say it again. It's not just a risk, it's a calculated risk. It comes with risk management because guess what? We're managing assets. So it's risk management. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens to replay. This is the Vote, episode 327, Fear of Going Private. How do you enter into the private and still have fear? Oh, because it's something I don't know. And that's what we make people aware of. It's something that you're unaware of. That's it. Since that's the case, what we're going to do is we're going to say, look, every time you feel like you're running into a roadblock, feel free to let us know that so we can diagnose the problem. Fear is false evidence appearing real. You may be thinking about something that completely not be true. And because you have access to a mentor, you could just ask them the question. That's how it works. So usually when you take on new endeavors, you should have someone that's a pro at something or very adept at something. And what is it that you're doing? Very important. So when we talk about having mentors in the private, how will you have fear when your mentors are lawyers? Oh no, trust Christian, I never thought about that. Like you have fear of going private when you're surrounded by lawyers. How do you have fear of going private then? How do people have fear of going private if they have lawyers around them? Well, you don't. What happens when you have people that used to work for government agencies, or you have people that are considered enrolled agents? That means they take tests that they can defend people in court, things of that nature. When you're surrounding yourself, when your team in the private compensates for your knowledge base so you don't have fear because you see that there are people that have been living in this side comfortably for years. Oh, no, no. Was that something not for you? See, we can sit here and talk about, oh, is it a belief? Is it a belief? Is it a belief? No, it's a knowing. When you go private, you know this knowledge. You don't believe in it. It's not a myth still. It's not a hypothesis or something. It's not something you're trying to figure out. When you go private, it's because it's in a process, it's in an order. There's no fear involved. But what happens with people at times? Well, we just see that people haven't studied. They haven't taken on the fact that they have to learn in-depth business education knowledge to be able to communicate with specific people on a specific level. These specific people are, when you talk about private, of course, what it keeps people out of the private. Is it the money? Oh, I got to make this much money. So the fear of doing it is I got to get this much money. Is that the fear? The fear is, oh, you know, I got to get all this money. That's the first fear, is because you get in front of people that tell you got to have this much money. Oh, you should have millions of dollars to go private. You should have thousands of dollars to go private. Don't come around here unless you have $100,000 to go in the insurance policy. This is the things that they say on the public side. And they're going to rot for that reason. Because most millionaires and billionaires are first gen at this point. So how is it that somebody's going to say, "Oh, I'm not going to give to the first gens. I got you. You got to have a certain amount of income." Do you know how challenging it is? So, okay, people want to be in this space. But guess what? When the vault says going private is a mindset, is a management, what makes that person think that just because someone has money, they even want to learn it? Some people just want to be protected. And they have capital. Appreciate Memphis, Tennessee for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate Memphis, Tennessee for tuning in live, listen to replay. We got Maryland in the house today. Appreciate Maryland for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. Fear of going private. People have a fear because they don't see the benefit. We were talking about this for the past few days in some of the consultations right now, is that so many people, they always try to say, oh, it's about your why. Oh, it's about your why. And, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But when it comes down to it, most people don't have a big enough why. So what's the benefit of going private? The public has given them comfort. The public has given them benefits. The public has them have one foot in, one foot out, like a spider monkey. That's what the public has. But going private, it says you're both feet in, there's no way out. And that's why so many, you see lawyers on the public side discourage going private. Not all, but you see so many. Why? Because, oh, it's a position you'll never be able to own anything ever again. And ownership is liability. Fear of going private, that's the fear of going private. Oh man, I don't want to give up this position. Position of what? Playing it safe? One foot in, one foot out? How is there any fear? Well, because I don't know anything about it. It's all about trust. Right? You hear those type of words. You got to trust people. You got to trust people's word and things like that. That's how the private operates, ladies and gentlemen. Hmm. That's how the private operates. Sometimes you might see handshake deals. People build relationships, long-term relationships. It's rare, but remember the private is face-to-face relationships anyways. So it's easier for you to build those handshake deals, those face-to-face relationships. It's easier for you to do that. But how is there any fear of going private? There's a fear because individuals have to read more information into a new skill set. And it's not even like it's the biggest skill set change because if a person hasn't been a manager, it may be a new enlightening course for that individual because they may not have been a manager. They may have just been like a worker, so that's fine. But for the most part, the people that have management skills, good at managing themselves, managing their time, have some level of like wanting to have structure and goals and really reinforced in a system, of mentorship. When you go to the meeting with your mentor, the mentor tell you sometimes have your questions typed out and send them over via email the night before. How diligent is a person to do that? Going private has to pull out the best out of you, uh, because when you go in private, you're dealing with a mentor usually, or you're dealing with a family member. You have a mentor, or you have a family member that's educating you on trusteeship. So who knows how long that education curve will be for anybody. We're not going to say everybody's average, so we wouldn't say that the average should be the average. It's not, oh, the average person takes this long to go and get it. How long does it take to go private? It could take all of a day, let alone 2 weeks, let alone longer than that. But the fear is people say, oh, I got to figure out how to make some money, Trust Christian. I got to figure out how do I grow the trust. Oh, wow. Do we get to this question? Do we need to go into this question? The fear of going private is that you got to be independent in your thought process. You got to be independent in your nature. You have to be a perpetual learner. What's the fear of going private? Well, I don't have a good enough team around me. That could be the biggest thing. Not having a team. Well, when people get consultations, they're able to figure out the questions because you can reach out, get a consultation, Christian at trustchristian.com, and get the questions to ask maybe particularly lawyers, accountants. And we had to get rid of some of these myths today, which is, oh, I have a fear. Nah, that's because you're around the wrong people. You know, the knowledge is what you need first. Then you can make an educated decision. How can you make an educated decision, an unfearful decision, when you're educated? You may not know everything about something, but even knowing that you have someone around you that in some type of legal capacity, they can help you out. That's really important. But people sometimes, oh man, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Hey, some people want to sit stuck. Fear of going private is those people. Ladies and gentlemen, if your why is big enough, the facts don't count. That's what the mentor told us. So when someone tells you that they're going to the moon or they're going to orbit in space in their own private aircraft, that's realistic at this point. We're seeing it. People are going to get private aircrafts and try to orbit. But people have a fear of going private. Guess what? They have a fear of being the best of their community, being the best of what they've known so far outside of other luminaries, other people that they know that have changed the game in their life and changed the game for the world. Who do you think is running the public? The private. So how do you have a fear of going to where all the money and the power is at? Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Always going to keep bringing episodes to you like this. fear of going private. Make it a point to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Get a consultation. Looking forward to having the next workshop. Getting details. Look forward to hearing from you all. Peace.